6:01, we can open up.
Obviously seeking resources from the county for the Department of the Coroner. So some things that we're asking for, obviously you have before you are some slight increases in the unattended death investigation. Also a slight increase with the transportation to the local funeral homes, and a slight increase also going up to Ellis Hospital where the autopsies are performed. This year we are asking for a holding fee because we are using the funeral homes to hold these county cases. We've had some cases where I've had deceased personnel at my facilities for over 2 weeks. So we are asking a $75 per day fee after the first day of death. Our normal charge is typically $220 per day for that type of service. But more importantly, what we're asking for tonight is the most important thing that we need in this county, and that is a cooler. We need a walk-in cooler. The amount of coroner calls that we do in this county, Jerry and I, we just can't keep bodies in a natural and warm environment at the funeral home that we keep them. We just can't keep bodies like that for the sake of other people's loved ones. These bodies, upon dying, change very rapidly, and we're just not in a position to handle things properly. It's one of the most important things that we need as a coroner's office within this county. I know it's an investment, but it has to be looked at as an investment because that's what it is, and it's absolutely needed. So we're strongly advocating for that. I hope that we can find the support for that. If you're wondering where it would be located, certainly we would locate it centrally in Carroll, New York. If you're not comfortable placing it at one of my facilities, then we could talk about a county facility to actually place it. But I am offering my facility to all the coroners to have access to the cooler. We're all asking per coroner $250 allotment, and this is to provide us with, we're ambassadors of the county, and we should have uniforms per se. We should have outfits that represent and signify to the public who we are and who we are representing, which is all of you in this entire county. So we're hoping that you'll see fit to support that also. And the last thing that I'd like to discuss real quickly, I'd like to talk about benefits. I know there's county benefits. The work that we do, the exposure, and just some of the rough things that we're doing. We're talking about 4 people. I'm not saying that all 4 people would take these benefits, but I certainly would like to have the opportunity to propose for benefits for the coroners. I mean, we're doing very, very dangerous and important work at times. Important work all the time, but we are certainly exposed to some things that the most common person is not. And so we'd like to put that on the table for consideration also. So as Charlie likes to say, is this going to take long? Hopefully it didn't. Short and sweet. We're just trying to do the best job that we can do as ambassadors for this county. You know, not anyone could do this job. Let's face it. Let's face it. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democratic. It takes a very unique, special, professional human being to be able to work in this capacity. I feel we have a solid team here. And I want to be the best representative of Greene County that I can be. That's why I'm here. Thank you for your time, all of us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Hold on, one question.
Yes, Tommy.
The cooler, are we talking like,
We're talking a walk-in
or
four-person
not
cooler.
like I know they have them where, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but
No, let's put it out
almost
there.
like a filing cabinet that they pull out. you
We
know,
have
with
that
a
now.
roofing unit, and
we
you put
paid-
the person on there. and
We have that in Caro now. It's a 2-person capacity and it's full every day. And so which means I did not buy that for the county. I bought that for the funeral home, but it hasn't been used for the funeral home. It's used for the county because I feel that unattended cases that don't have next of kin immediately notified, and we have someone sitting with us for 3 days, deserve refrigeration
Or more.
or more. So again, it's not gonna be cheap. It's not gonna be astronomical, but we need it. We attended a meeting, almost a year ago. We went to the medical examiner coroner conference, which was mandatory for us as elected officials. And I gotta tell you this, I'm proud of Greene County. I've only been here a decade, but you know what? I consider myself Greene County. I am proud to represent Greene County, and I do it well. But we were not able to represent Greene County at this conference. And the only words that I can share with you that it was mortifying, very embarrassing, and humiliating, because we couldn't talk about what every other county talks about within a medical coroner office. We couldn't talk about a location. We couldn't talk about a budget. We couldn't talk about proper equipment. We couldn't talk about any of those things. And, we're not coroners because we make a lot of money. There's no money in this, you know that. We do it because this is our service to humanity. That's why I do it. Been a funeral director 25 years. Been a coroner, only 2, but I've been a coroner for 10 with Richard Ridgelow. So my heart's in it. We should have a professional, dignified coroner's office. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for anything that anyone else doesn't already have. We deserve it. You deserve it as a county. We all do. So once again, I thank you for your time.
The only other thing, I'm sorry, the only other thing with the cooler you're speaking about, there are different types of coolers. So if it's something that is on the table, we can look into it, to exactly what kind of cooler would be sufficient for us, maybe cost-wise. There's different costs for a walk-in cooler with walk-in shelves in it instead of like a drawer type.
Do you have
Yeah,
an
so that
idea
might
how
be-
much, do you have an idea of the cost?
I would say I spent $4,800 on a 2 cooler. Sean, I believe I forwarded that receipt to you. So I would anticipate probably double that. For
Walk-in
for
cooler
a
would
full
probably be
walk-in.
more efficient.
would be far more efficient. And, we don't need a shelving unit. I'm sure that's accessories and that's more expensive. We need capacity to have 4, 5 stretchers in there at any given time. That's really what we need and what people deserve. The other thing that I learned is that when someone dies in our county, it appears that we place a little bit less value. I'm not saying that's how we feel. I'm saying that's how it appears. So again, these small things that I'm asking for is for the benefit of Greene County at the end of the day, because we're your first point of contact with the people in the community during a very tragic time. And we're honored to do it. So whatever consideration we could have, we appreciate you all.
Well, here's a hypothetical. I'm
Sure.
not letting you off that easy.
Okay.
Say you guys aren't there. Not as in, say we have coroners that are elected that they don't have a funeral home.
Yep, that's why
They
we
don't
need
have the
it.
resources.
That's why we need it. That's why you need it as a county.
And that's why Paul is
We
offering.
went from 4 funeral directors. think.
It's three.
Two.
Right, but what I'm saying, Sean, is, well, to everybody is, if we don't have anybody that has a dedicated funeral home,
Well, here's,
What
here's,
is-
Well,
what would a
I'll
coroner
answer
do?
that. I'll
Do
answer
they-
that. I'm not a funeral director.
but what I'm saying, Jay, is what, do they have a stretcher
no.
to transport the person? Do you get them from the scene or the
So
residence?
here's the
and where do they
difference.
go?
Here's why we're in this situation. Every other county has a designated coroner's office, which includes a location for the coroners to report to bring their bodies to house, to secure, to log in. We don't have that here. Bob Heisinger, years and years ago, along with Richard Vigilo, years and years ago, have established their own coroner system in Greene County with a non-existent coroner's office, non-existent equipment or vehicles. It has been established to where the individual uses their personal vehicle. I'm using my funeral home equipment to act as coroner, which I don't mind because I'm a funeral director. I'm doing it. But, you know, we burn through stretchers. They're $1,850 a pop. I've already burned through 4 of my funeral home ones. I have to repay for those. It takes 6 months to get them. So, you know, every other county has designated equipment for the task. We don't. I'm not blaming anybody. That's how it has been set up for over 25 years. I get it, longer than that. But you have my funeral homes, and if you didn't have our funeral homes or any of the funeral homes, not just mine, any of them, where would you bring your deceased people of Greene County? Where would you bring them? What equipment would you use? What vehicles would you use to get them to where they need to be? And who would you have to properly facilitate all the necessary documentation for the funeral home that will receive the coroner call? There's a lot of work involved in this, guys. It's just not going to pick up a body somewhere at a scene and bring it somewhere. It's 2-3 hours of work on the computer. It's 2-3 hours talking to the families. They're not talking to the state police or the sheriffs, they're talking to us. We're the point of contact. So I got off track.
Well, no, you kind of answered the question.
Without our funeral homes in this county, we don't have a coroner's office. I don't know any other way to say it. It's been operational, Charlie, you're right. It has been functional, and it hasn't been a real problem. But it's not the way it should be. It's not the way it could be. And I have offered my physical buildings for you to create a coroner's office. Or we have an existing new sheriff's building. All we need is a 10x10, 2x4 with some drywall and a door in it. That's all we need. I mean, we're not asking for you to create a building for us. I've offered my facilities, and I still am. I'm here to serve the county. I'm here to serve you all. That includes what I have. That includes my facilities. That's the only way we can operate as coroners, is to have a place to bring these bodies. Now, the only thing we need in addition is the cooler. I've got the equipment. I'm not asking you guys for equipment. I'm not asking you for vehicles. I'm asking for your help to make this a stronger office. Does anyone have any other questions as to the justification of what we're asking for?
No, I just thank you for the service that you're providing. I mean, I see Jerry around Carroll,
Thank you, Harry.
and I know you're busy throughout the county, and I mean, he drops everything and he goes and does his job. I see it,
Incredibly so.
and no, thank you. You're right. And person takes a special kind of person to carry out those duties, and I just say thank you.
I appreciate it. It was just my hopes that you guys, for this 10 minutes, could step out of your legislative role, maybe, and some of your professional roles in life, and absorb this information as just a human being who may go through this coroner's office. You don't know. You guys don't know that.
Do you have a similar county in population that has a coroner's office?
Ulster, Albany, Rensselaer.
I mean, similar population size.
Well, we have a coroner's office because of our population. If we had more population, then we would be designated as a medical examiner's office, and we would have a medical examiner, not coroner. So, the 3 surrounding counties are definitely larger than ours in population. But I can tell you that we're still the only county that doesn't have what any other coroner's office has.
Well, I'm just trying to see if there's another county that's set up with an office and a cooler.
Yeah.
Set up and see what that budget is for them a year, so we have an idea of what we're looking at, if that's something, you know, this body is gonna entertain going forward. I mean, it's just,
I could provide that information.
just so we know. I think that's the easiest thing to do. If there's another county with 60,000 in population, you might have an idea of the size and scope and therefore overall cost that would be necessary to put something in place. And that way Sean has that in his mind.
Well, we need an $8,000 or $9,000 cooler. That's what we need. I mean, I understand your perspective. I understand it's certainly rational and wise, and you know, if you need that information, I can certainly provide a host of counties. You know, as we attended that meeting, you know, we certainly made connections with all the medical examiner's office and regional coroner's office, and you know, we can certainly see what kind of budget they put out. We're not looking for a budget. We're looking for the small raises to continue to do the job we're doing, and we're looking for that one-time investment, which
I know
hopefully will
that,
last
but
us the next decade.
maybe not on your end, you're not thinking budget, but here at the legislative body, you gotta think of budget, because you were just previously asking for a cooler, looking at
Yeah.
healthcare, all these
Yeah,
things, so
we
we
are.
will be looking at a budget. You know, and
Well,
I
I'm
think
saying, we're not up here asking for you to allocate the budget. We're asking if it needs to be done incrementally, we do it.
Right.
We're not asking for you to put out the whole Thanksgiving dinner for us today. And, you know, we know that things take time. We understand that there's other budgets that you deal with on a daily basis, and that's respectful.
well, if you could get that information to us, that'd be
Absolutely.
helpful.
Just on a side note, I'm not a funeral director, right? I'm, you know, Joe down the road, and I'm a contractor, right? When I get the call to go get the deceased, I do. And the first thing they're asking, where are you bringing them? So I'm bringing them to Paul's funeral home, okay? What are you gonna do with that? Well, I'm gonna put them in the cooler until you make arrangements with the funeral home of your choice. So we could arrange with the funeral home to bring them. Okay, so if there isn't a cooler, especially in the summertime, you know, there's an issue. And I don't want to say, well, I'm bringing them and putting them in the cooler, and 2 days later, they're coming to view this person, and they're not viewable. So the cooler is very important, you know.
In your circles, is there available like portable coolers, such as FEMA or any other disaster agency may
Wouldn't you consider
have,
what I
where they
have
might have an
at
8 by 20 foot sea container that happens to be a cooler? I mean, you could find from somewhere, whether it's as an example, FEMA or some other, you know, Red Cross, whatever. You
I don't
know,
think Red Cross has it. FEMA might, you know, with everything going on in the world, you know, we might not be able to get one. You know, to have a permanent spot for the 4 coroners, you know, it would be centrally located in Greene County. They can come down from the mountain and they leave it there, because Paul has a code on the door that anybody can get in there anytime, leave the body there, and then speak to the family, you know. And if they're going up to the mountain or down to Solis or wherever the deceased is going, at least it's in a central location.
I have to believe that the cooler actually should be located at a county-owned facility. It shouldn't be in somebody's private.
Fair enough.
I mean, and so Sean, I was wondering if, is there any capacities in any of the buildings for a
I don't know about
Like 20.
if Sean knows, down at the control center, down at the dispatch center, the 7-bay garage.
Right.
There's one bay there that's not really being used, because a lot of the equipment went to the sheriff's. So a lot of the equipment that was stored there, and I'm a fireman also, so I know that part of it. So that might be a location.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you might want more security, more controlled environment. That's why, I don't know who mentioned the new jail. To me, that's a more secured environment.
Well, you'd find in other counties, Harry, that's where your coroner's office
Yeah.
would be facilitated.
I mean, I think that would be an ideal spot if we were going to do something like that, because it's controlled from a
You know,
security.
or the
perspective.
other thought was the other building, the old sheriff's, the small bank building in Coxsackie. You know,
Yeah,
where the
but that,
sheriff,
again, your security,
true,
your security, you have to,
True.
you have to take all that into consideration, and in my opinion, that's probably the best location
would
if we're gonna
concur.
take something like this on.
As far as the cooler goes, Mike, I know like in a lot of my friends at delis, they build the cooler. The most expensive part is just putting the refrigeration unit in it. So you can make it to any size. And
Yeah, it's just panels locked
Yeah.
together.
yes,
it is.
that's what we have currently.
So that would be what you have to spec it.
I was just offhand thinking, I've seen the portable coolers that are sea containers, literally roll off. And you would roll it right off in one of the bays of the sheriff's maintenance building, right there, Charlie, your building.
Your $1 million.
Roll it right off, and there's your bay, there's your cooler.
I mean, my $1 million building?
You can attach
It's just off the top, yeah, just.
You're proud of that.
But like Darrell said, the snap together panels, lock together
Yep.
panels, and then compressor and evaporator coil, and you're in business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see you calling, Michelle.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Betsy.
That's your job.
For the record, that was Harry that mentioned the sheriff's.
No, someone mentioned it before me, Tommy.
I think Charlie mentioned it.
Yeah.
A little general.
Tommy, wasn't me.
All right, we have 2 action items. Action item number 1 is change of fees, Greene County Coroner schedule of fees. I'll move that. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Who said that? Harry?
Yeah.
Harry Lennon, second. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, it's carried. Second, action item. Authorizing agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services Aging and Home Aid Service of Eastern New York, DBA Eddie Health Alert. I'll second that. Handle and Bloomer, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Do we have anything else before county services? Anybody have any questions? Motion to adjourn. I'll make a second. We're adjourned. Thank you. Public Works Committee to order at 6:35. Highway Superintendent's report.
Go quick through this, not a lot going on. A lot of our guys are maintaining the roads right now. This weekend was extremely busy with the ice. We put almost 200 tons of salt down this weekend. Not a lot of snow, but it's still incredibly busy. County 22 Bridge in the town of Durham will have the bid opening next Tuesday. So that project is scheduled to start in the spring of this year. 83 culvert and pedestrian bridge in Hunter. That bid should be going out shortly. We are expecting that to start this spring as well. County Route 40 and 61 are currently in design. We just received the master state and local agreement with New York State for County Route 40. We expect County Route 61 to receive that by next week, hopefully. Timberlake Road Bridge and Bloomer Road, the Bridge New York projects, those are, looks like because of right-of-way issues, are going to be pushed off until 2023. We got extensions from New York State on both of those. County Route 17 slope stabilization. As soon as spring rolls around, Evergreen Construction is going to jump back into the Westkill and start working on that. We'll also have County Route 2 in the town of Lexington. That culvert project is scheduled to begin. On the engineering division side, our guys in the back room are working hard. They're working on a bridge and culvert program that we have, a guide rail program, and continue to work on the sign maintenance. Currently, snow and ice control, we're projected right around this levels right now. So even though we put out so much salt, we're still on track. We're actually kind of low. Hasn't been a very busy snow and ice control season, knock on wood, yes. Equipment, right now we're working with the garage manager and our operations manager to work on what equipment for 2022.
Scott, would you also go over the door issue there at the one time?
Freehold, we're switching out the waste oil heater in Freehold, and we're replacing with that. We're going to replace the doors. There's no point of really fixing a heating system without making the building itself more efficient. So we're replacing the doors. There's gaps in the bottom of that door, 2-3 inches. These buildings are quite old, need some TLC. So we're going to continue to do that. The waste oil is simply a very dirty, inefficient, high maintenance heating system that is continually breaking down. We had around 20 barrels of oil sitting out there, which is incredibly environmentally unfriendly to have sitting around.
Are we still gonna have a waste oil permit?
We are
A new
not,
one? Where are you gonna take the waste oil?
we are not going to collect it anymore. I believe we have a couple of towns that continue to.
Oh, this isn't the oil from your changing oil in the equipment?
We don't create that much. That stuff, we have a outfit that comes and takes it when necessary, but there are also towns that are going to take our waste oil. They still have the setup, the waste oil heater.
What's gonna be your heat source out there?
It's propane. We already had that existing in the front, so we're making a universal fuel system throughout the whole building. We're looking to do the same thing up in Ashland. They have just a Frankenstein versions of several different heating units. We're trying to update it to using one fuel. Solid waste, Hunter Transfer Station. We keep on talking about it. We finally got the numbers for the end of the year. We did around 9,000 tons. That's up from 2020, we did 3,000. So the direct haul has been, I would say, successful in generating MSW.
Total system tonnage?
We are going to be around 80,000 tons as compared to 60,000 tons last year. 66.
Do you foresee going back to 6 days being open? Because I know those 2 days that you're shut down affect a lot of the haulers.
We do understand, unfortunately, if we don't have the trailers available, there's no point in having the station open. So if we don't have the trailers to load from our haulers, then we can't have the station open. We can't just leave it on the floor. That's the biggest, because we were generating so much. Our haulers didn't anticipate that many. What is it, 4 trailers a day out of that location.
We're gonna, and the staffing is another issue. When you open up another day, now you're bringing people from Catskill up there a day, and then.
No, I know, but it used to be open 6 days a week, so people up there
Right.
molded their, once
Right,
they
but
get used to
only,
it.
then there was only 2 people, and there was a head, technically 2 people, now you got 3 people at the station, so now you're shifting around 3 people, and we just don't have the manpower to.
Is there a chance you
and
could
do
stagger
100,
the
and then you're
days
gonna
off?
want Wyndham open.
Instead of having 2 in a row, because then it would make it easier, because when they're collecting the refuse, they gotta hold it for 2 days, they're collecting it on one day, and they can't get rid of it till the 4th day. Makes it harder on them too.
I mean, the only thing that we can look at is some of the holidays, maybe keeping it instead of having multiple days off. I mean, I know during the holidays is one of the biggest issues up there. You have multiple days instead of the staggered days. We can certainly look into it, but for us, it's trying to figure out how to not only staff it, but get those trailers available. If we can't get the outfits to haul that stuff
I know,
out.
but I'm saying instead of having to close Wednesday, Thursday, maybe you could close it Wednesday or Monday, Wednesday. So, you know what I'm saying? The
Right,
2 days in a row
right.
are a
So
problem.
we did Monday, and then everybody complained that they didn't want Monday, that Wednesday and Thursday was the better day, so. Because originally it was those days, and then we switched it.
Yeah, I believe we talked to a couple of the haulers up
Right.
there, and that was their.
Because they're the ones that are asking. me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not coming up with this on my own. But they're the people that are coming to me saying they can't hold it for 2 days. So it's
We
funny
can-
that they would, I don't know if they didn't think it through or what. These questions are coming from them.
Makes sense.
We'll certainly look into it and see if there's a
Scott,
possibility.
is the haulers in violation of their contract by not having the trailers?
No, if it was Catskill, it'd be different.
Right.
Catskill's our main station.
Yeah.
They're supporting us in the Hunter location. When we do our new RFP for transportation disposal, we're gonna include both Hunter, Catskill, and Cooksaki. No, we're not.
When is that up for,
The end of this year.
the end of this year? Do the current haulers, do you anticipate bidding on that contract? Again,
I believe it's gonna be very aggressive.
are they already aware that this is what you are looking to do? So, they can, any of them have, the means in the pipeline to
Yes,
get more trailers?
absolutely. And they had to, our current transportation disposal contractor had to shift things around when we did the Hunter Station. As well as Catskill too. I mean, they were having difficulty finding drivers. Their trailers, they're just like everyone else. CDL drivers is incredibly difficult to find. So they had to shift things around, and they had to get additional subcontractors to work with them.
So for the next contract, you anticipate going to 6 days?
I am not sure. I'd have to look into seeing what they can support. 6 day, I mean, we could stagger the days off. 6 days a week is gonna be tough on our staff. Right now, we're trying to keep our staffing as separated as possible without losing entire stations. I mean, that's our biggest concern right now with this environment we are in. If we get one exposed, everyone's exposed, and
Right.
we
but I
shut
mean,
down
you
the
are-
station.
But that's my point. If
We
it
start-
wasn't COVID, right, would we be 6 days?
Not without more staff.
Not without, yeah,
So as we move forward, can we look into budgeting for more staff to be open for 6 days?
I mean, we're gonna be opening Saki with an additional person as well, so.
We probably need staff, and when you go back to that tonnage increase that we've had from 64 to our 80 now, done that without an increase in staff. We're better at the job, we have better equipment, and we actually have the extra large trucks that we're using as well for the time. We have not added really staff to this operation.
I think two in the last 10 years.
Increase too.
But so like Hunter's increased almost a third, right? So, I mean, you
We're
have to
correct.
kind of plan on moving that stuff. I mean, wouldn't it be easier if you're open 6 days, moving all that tonnage rather than trying to, it's gotta be, it's gotta make it easier on the guys.
It's completely different. We're not hauling anymore.
No, I know, but I'm saying, if you're open to 6 days, you're not gonna be getting the amount of volume in a single day. It'll spread it out more. And make it easier to manage.
Possibly. Like I said, we'll certainly look into it. I mean, I can't promise you.
No, I know, but I mean, as long as we have an end game, we're looking towards trying to do something.
Right. I mean, I would look into the staggered days before I would do 6 days.
Well,
right
that
at
would
this
be good
point.
for this year, but I'm saying for
Right.
the following year, because it's obvious you're gonna recontract with the haulers, so if you could figure out what it would take to increase your staff, put it all together as a package, and then when you come back saying, well, for another so much more money, we could open all these stations back up 6 days a week.
More staff would probably be the answer, because
Yeah.
by doing the expanded staggering, you're not giving people 2 days off in a row. You're giving them a Monday and a Thursday off, and
Right.
they got a personal life too, so having more people to work would then give us the ability to manage the staff in a more efficient fashion.
Scott, what about your new plow trucks up on the mountaintop too? How are they?
They're working out well.
All right.
We had to do some modifications, but they're working out well.
The new systems on the spreading of the salt, you're able to monitor that so you can see what we save with a newer system?
We did not retrofit those existing ones before with the computerized, still more of a wired system. We want to upgrade them next year to a fully, we're 4 Tenco tandem trucks that we're eventually going to get,
Yeah.
hopefully in a couple months. Those are fully computerized. These current ones were not spec that way. We're also looking to do some liquid treatment modification for our snow and ice control.
Pre-treatment or?
No, just treating the salt when it comes out of the,
Calcium chloride?
it's a brine, yeah, calcium salt brine. The state's doing it. They're looking into, there's a very big push in the Northeast, especially Adirondacks right now, to reduce your salt. I'm projecting it to come down south, implemented on our side too, since we are in the New York City watershed. I'm sure they're gonna push for
That's
it.
been a huge argument in the
Yeah,
Adirondack part.
does brine add a different environmental factor?
You can theoretically, you can reduce your salt output by 30% by treating it with a brine.
But doesn't the brine itself give you a new environmental issue?
Not really. It's the brine is more of it's just salt. It's just
Salt wash.
brine.
Salt water.
And it just activates the salt prior to going on the ground.
There's also beet juice brine.
There's a bunch of different treatments out there. Peckham has material that they treat. It's all of this is just to try to reduce the amount of salt that goes on the ground. Recycling, the temporary single stream recycling area that we created in Catskill. Since October, we've done 2,100 tons. That's 149 trailers of recycling. Okay, so. It's working.
Better than we anticipated.
Yes. We need a facility.
It's really.
It's difficult to control it as far as environmentally. We're getting so much, it's tough to keep up with it.
Because,
Again, because we have,
because county closed their center.
correct,
So
we have
we have a whole new.
And this
whole
is-
new delivery system coming our way, which we didn't have before.
and this single stream is for the haulers. This isn't for residential. We still have the source separated residential.
Scott, question. In terms of our employees with COVID and quarantine and precautionary measures, I know you've taken some precautionary measures here over the last week. Is all that working out? I mean, I know we talked and you said you were, everybody was pretty much working by themselves.
Yes, I mean, the biggest thing we're trying to do is eliminate any cross exposure with different buildings. It's tough because of the quarantine exposure rates that we're currently having. It's tough. I mean, we have several buildings that it's difficult.
You feel confident with the plans that you have in place that you're going to be able to handle events as they occur? I mean, we just said that it was a major really, it was a big ice storm, right, for a couple, 3 days. And you made it through all that without any problems,
We made it through it.
right?
I
You
would
had
say without.
you had to make some adjustments.
Yeah, we've had to make many adjustments.
All right, so you feel
And we've had
confident
other
that,
buildings help out with shifting around.
all right, so you got a plan in place to,
Yes.
okay.
Snow and ice control is doable. It's when you get those dry spells and you want to do work with congregate guys together, that work is gonna probably slow down.
Right, well, that,
We have not been able to do anything else besides snow and ice control.
yeah, I mean, you really can't, right? In this environment, you can't put them 3 or 4 individuals together working.
Not when,
It's just
not, there's precautions that we've taken with masks and social distancing. We only do single plow runs, so.
Cleaning and,
So they're doing all the precautions, but we can't really do much else besides snow and ice control with the different people on quarantine, because once they're done with snow and ice control, if they're on quarantine, they gotta go home. If they're on quarantine.
okay. Thank you.
For solid waste, we do have a resolution to purchase a Hyundai excavator. It's to replace the excavator we have in Catskill. The trade-in value is $50,000 and the total cost was $120,000. We're right at the 7,500 hour mark, where if we keep it any longer, it's gonna depreciate much quicker.
How long have we had that unit now?
That's 2018.
2018? So especially for Daryl and Sherry, this rotating the equipment, so we get the best value, resale value, trade-in value. That's what Scott's been doing. We're even trying that with highway a little bit too on some of this.
And that's what we did at the town, and the amount of money you save on maintenance and upkeep and everything, you're better off getting rid of them before they have a problem.
And that's our main piece of equipment.
Right. In Catskill, all of our transfer stations, our excavators are used every minute of the day. I mean, besides lunch break, which somebody else ends up getting in it. I mean, they're operating 8 hours a day, loading trailers.
A state contract, right?
Correct. And this, not only was it the cheapest price, it actually is the only place that we can get an actual hard date on when we're gonna receive it. We asked Cat for estimates and they didn't even give us anything. John Deere gave us an estimate, but they wouldn't tell us when we could get it. They had no expected delivery dates.
What's the date they're thinking?
April,
April?
and that's why we have to get ahead of, for the highway equipment, we gotta get ahead of this right now. I mean, we ordered equipment back in May. We still haven't seen it, but I'll expect to see it for a couple more months. So anything that we order.
Anything you want in operation for 23, we pretty much got to put an order in now.
I mean, the town of Catskill ordered trucks from Dodge, and they didn't, they just canceled their order. They didn't push off the order, they just canceled it. So I'm hoping that it doesn't happen with us. So And they said that Dodge is not doing any municipal contracts.
Back to, County Route 61, is that the second bridge going towards, the Baltimore?
That is the first bridge before you go up to,
Second
by the
bridge.
old slides, yeah.
What are you gonna do, the slide also?
The first slide.
By Althea Seymour's house.
Yeah.
Van Gerpen Lane goes up there.
Thank you.
Can you be done now?
Yes.
Thanks, Scott.
Moving on to proposed action items. Number one, authorizing medical complex, exit 21W, site engineering and utility infrastructure.
Martinez?
Handle Martinez, all in favor?
Aye. I just had a question for Sean here, the 1.6 million. It's not to exceed that, so
This is, Warren, this is not, is this the gas or this the?
Yes, Central Hudson.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a fixed price.
that's fixed price. It's not up to, it could come in less, that's.
It could come in less. There's
Okay.
a high contingency because of the rock that's up there.
So when, on the other end of things here, the IDA, I know the IDA actually owns that property.
They own the 60 acres.
So is there any kind of reimbursement the IDA is doing? Is there some type of give and take between
Yeah,
the
when
county
we-
and us
When
and
we,
them?
when we negotiate our acquisition, if you will, of the property for the mental health building,
Yeah,
it'll be a quid pro quo type exchange. Because the hospital wouldn't have gone without gas.
sure.
That's a border to the thruway?
Yes,
That's gonna be costly.
no.
Will this also, does this include, getting the gas over to the 21 East
Oh,
property
that's
too?
it.
What?
It goes right past it.
It'll go
Right-
past, it,
right
but
now
will it
it
go
ends
over
with-
to it?
Yeah,
The
well, right now
quality
the
in
gas
project.
line ends at what is now the burned out transmission shop.
Sure, yeah.
So this new line will go right past east and then under the thruway to the west side.
It'll be on that side. It'll stay
It's
on
on
the
that
east
side.
side.
What's that? Yes.
Okay, all right.
But what do we, I get what you're saying. Are they gonna run it over the old hotel spot?
Yes, it'll be on that side.
And then you're gonna go
Yeah.
down
And then
and
go
under.
under, probably a diagonal cut to come up on the other side to the 60 acres. And then eventually probably right up Leeds, because those hotel projects there that are being redeveloped may be able to then tap into the gas line as well.
Are they gonna bore the whole way? Do you know? Did they say?
No.
I don't know boring the whole way.
Just
no.
under the thruway.
I think that's all rock up on the right side too. I mean, it's just.
Oh, yeah, let me
like
go
rock.
ask.
The whole rock shelf.
That's why the cost is so high.
That's.
Okay, all in favor?
Matt, Lewis can
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Authorizing municipalities to participate in county highway purchases.
Hobart.
I'm sorry, Hobart, Martinez, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. A resolution authorizing the implementation and funding of the first insurance 100% of federal aid and state facility program aid eligibility costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore.
Hobart.
Handle and Hobart, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Adoption of Greene County local solid waste management plan.
Hobart.
I'll second.
Jim, just a quick question for Paul on this. Solid waste management plan. So you guys write it up. Send it out to the state. They ask for us to approve it, but then they're the ones who are in charge of making the revisions?
No, we made the revisions.
You made the revision.
Right, we submitted our first draft, they didn't like something they answered. We verified, sent it back, and then they approved it. Okay. So now it has to come to you for your for approval, then we send the revised back to them as a finished document.
So you guys are in the driver's seat. on this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So we came up with the whole plan.
Right.
The plan is ours, that
Right.
we came up with. They just have to approve our actions for the next 8 years that we laid out in that plan.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks, Jim.
Number 5, authorize the purchase of one new 2022 Hyundai HX130 ALCD excavator. Martinez and Lennox, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Anything else? Bring it for public works? One second. We are closed.
Thank you, Joe. Matthew, thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right, Linda, thank you.
See you next week, sicko.
I think my quarantine is being lifted. I just got an email.
Oh, you got a real